Dealing with debt excuses on a daily basis is part of the job of being a debt collection agent, a supervisor, or a manager. We've decided at ICAN that we need to give some sort of help to the agents across the country and the world to overcome these challenges. And we focus specifically in South Africa. And for that reason, we've developed this course, has 10 modules. And today we're dealing with unemployment, the most popular excuse that agents across the country believe they have difficulty with. So we know you'll learn something. Please make sure that you like and subscribe. My name is Craig Dell. Hope you enjoy. We encourage you to check in with us if you're an employee of a collection agency or a lender. Training in collections is essential, and this quotation kind of expresses how we feel about it. And it improves efficiency of businesses, and it's the return on investment is easy to calculate. So we encourage you to, after enjoying this course with us, to reach out to myself if you want any further information on how we can customize a training solution for your business. All our courses are practical, and we believe that implementing them is important. Otherwise, you've just gained knowledge, and gaining knowledge without implementing it is futile. Learning with implementation is arrogance, according to Richard Norton. So we encourage you that as you learn, you gain knowledge, you implement. South Africa has one of the highest unemployment rates in the world. And our debtors caught on to that. Yes, there are debtors that are impacted by it. However, it's not a valid reason or excuse for not honoring debt. As an agent, specifically a smart agent, it's important to probe, ask questions. How did it take place? When? What type of unemployment it was? And yes, there are various types, and we'll talk through that just now. Or not necessarily types, but kind of events that led to it. For example, was somebody retrenched? Did they resign? And so forth and so on. Knowing the options that debtors have, and if they're unemployed, and it's sincere, some, if not most, would have some access to some sort of resources, financial resources. So that's why it's important as an agent that you exploit that. Be empathetic, but firm. And remember that your knowledge is your power. So the more you know about how to deal and the various ways somebody can exit a company and what kind of resource they have access to, the more powerful you become in negotiating. Our learning outcomes are quite clear. How to deal with the unemployment as an excuse for non-payment, and understanding the financial remedies available to unemployed individuals which they have access to in South Africa. Here's some tips for the agents. South Africans, and in fact since 2007, with the introduction of the National Credit Act, it became mandatory, arguably, on all kind of credit facilities in South Africa. So if you take out a loan, if you've got access to a credit card, some companies would make it mandatory that you take out credit life insurance, and South Africa, this would come in quite handy. And as an agent, it's very important for you to inquire about that if the account holder did have access to that kind of insurance, because it helps a lot in that it, especially the lenders, would execute that insurance if the debtor report that they've lost the income due to unemployment or whatever the reason may be. So it's important to check in on that. We've mentioned this. It covers death, disability, or retrenchment. So check in with your supervisor what the criteria is for if it's your company as a lender or if you're working for an external debt collection agency. So there might be a specific requirements that the companies may need. And this is a win-win situation for everyone, especially in the event of retrenchment. This insurance would help significantly because it will basically settle their debt, and often debtors may not be aware of it. And I think part of our role is just by making them aware, they could follow this process, and then this account can then be solved, as it were. As mentioned earlier, this product can help in many respects in covering debt, credit cards, for example, overdraft facilities, student loans, cars, personal and home loans. Uh, However, please be mindful, it will not pay out if the debtor has lost a job or is unable to earn an income resulting from the following. Number one, retrenchment or termination of employment within the first 3 months after commencement of credit life insurance. Lawful dismissal by an employer. So remember, retrenchment only. Participation in an unprotected strike, of which happens a lot in South Africa, as you all know. Retrenchment where the consumer was aware, received notice during 3 months preceding the date on which the credit life insurance policy was signed. So please don't assume that the arrears or debts, outstanding debt, would be settled. I think it's our role merely to inform the debtor who claims they are sincere, as you know, would have gone to the credit provider by then, that they have options are available, that it might be a good remedy for them. Regardless of this, you still have to continue with the negotiation of a repayment plan. It's essential to note that debtors may not be aware of the insurance coverage. Nevertheless, it is crucial for them to understand that they are responsible for paying off their debts. Therefore, it is recommended that they contact the lender and arrange for payment as soon as possible to avoid any further complications. This plays in specifically where they were not aware that they've got this insurance. But I would change that last part and just say they need to make that arrangement with you while they consider their options with the credit life insurance. And I say this because of the requirements. In fact, the exclusion reasons, as we've mentioned just a while ago. In South Africa, many people that are employed have to contribute to this unemployment insurance fund, also known as UAF. So here's some tips on how to deal with that, and would help you also in the questions that you may ask the debtor. UAF provides some relief for certain groups of people that are unemployed. However, it is essential to understand the qualification criteria. For instance, debtors who have resigned are not eligible for benefits. To be eligible for UAF benefits, you must have contributed to the fund while employed. You cannot claim if you resigned or were suspended or absconded from work. Women on maternity leave are eligible for UAF benefits, but self-employed individuals are not. My friends, these are important. You need to understand these, especially when a debtor raises any of these benefits. But you could also ask them, how is it that your employment was severed? And then you'll be able to place and figure out would they qualify or not. But do not spend too much time on this. Get down to the business and why we're here. We want to get a payment arrangement from them. Again, make sure you just understand these criteria so that it just gives you a little bit more confidence in your engagement with the data. Now, this is not a photo of me, but retirement fund is another opportunity where debtors might have access to resources. So let's talk through that. So debtors who resign with a pension may have access to lump sums. A pension is an employer-sponsored retirement plan that allows an employee to reduce a portion of his earnings towards retirement years, so contribute towards the future. A resignation allows the debtor to withdraw from the retirement fund in cash. So again, In this instance, it was if someone resigned, and remember with the previous solutions, they have very different rules, UIF being one of them, but in this case, we're just talking about the pensions in particular. And the main one, retrenchment. Let's see what the options are available. Companies offer retrenchment packages. It is therefore essential for you as an agent to understand the options. Often they offer severance pay, and it's normally at least 1 week's remuneration per completed year of service. So if you've worked for 5 years, that will be 5 weeks of pay. There's also access to outstanding leave that must be paid out, notice pay. So there's quite a bit of scenarios and again access to resources that a debtor has. And believe me or not, they would know what their options are. So therefore, you can no longer accept unemployment as a reason for not payment because there's so many resources available specifically in South Africa. So yes, accepting a debtor's excuse of an unemployment does not justify not payment. Debtors have access to remedies, as we've explained. Always be empathetic, and your knowledge is crucial for successful negotiations. Once debtors understand their options, they are often willing to make a payment arrangement. Most importantly, the fact that you have knowledge of the resources and solutions that's available to consumers in Africa helps a lot. Empathy is critical, people. Right, there we go. Unemployment. We know that, in fact, we encourage you to watch the video again. You can get access to our reading material, and even better, contact us to see if we can help you if you need further information. If you have any questions, please, you'll find our contact information just at the end of this video. It's been a pleasure talking to you. My name is Craig Dell.